I just got my new DJI Nano here. I'm going to try to do and show you guys the extremely low tide we're having out here on Roy Namor. I'm going to be looking away so I can watch where I'm stepping. Hopefully the microphone's going to be working. But right here we're just at this little lagoon. I keep calling it a lagoon. I think this is more of a cove. Tide is way out, and so what normally you would never see has been exposed because we've got such a low tide here. Learn how to use this little tiny camera. It's pretty neat so far. Happy to see that the microphone's working. I've just put on the camera portion, so we're going to be able to dip you guys down into the water. We'll see if we can find some cool looking fish. All right, here's a little find here. Oh, it's stuck to the rock. Yeah, that's if you can see it. That is a bullet casing. Don't know how long that's been there. There's the first little find as we cruise around and see the island at low tide. Second thing I'll share with you guys is this piece of a wing. I believe it's a flap. This one I've found a few times. It gets exposed on these really low tides, so you can just walk right up to the edge here. And you could walk in there if you wanted to, but I considered pulling that thing up out of the water, but you probably noticed as we're walking up, there's a lot of fish that have made that a home. And so I've just decided, why mess with it? I'm just going to leave it down there. But lots of little fish swimming around today. Really sunny, and so we're going to get some good opportunities to hopefully see some marine life out here in this little cove. I don't know if we're going to be able to capture these guys. There's some pretty big fish cruising through the water, and then right there, this little dude is a reef triggerfish, I think is what they're called. It's the state fish of Hawaii. It has a really super long name, but really a beautiful fish. And I just have to stay really still, and what I can see here is just a bunch of fish coming in, and I'm trying to get the camera to catch that, but with the breeze it sort of breaks up that tension on the surface and makes it a little more difficult to see through that water. Let's zoom this out a little bit and see if that's better. Just a ton of fish, and right back here we've got a little shark. There he is, a little black tip, just cruising along. So if I stay real still, you'll see a lot more fish coming in. As soon as I start moving along, they're gonna all scamper off. But we're gonna make our way down here. I want to show you some things along this little cove that are pretty interesting when you get this low tide like this. And I've got a land bridge today, which normally is not there. So we're gonna cut across the land bridge and try to catch some more marine life right here in this little cove. All right, right down here is another piece. This really looks like an aircraft wing, and we've already got a piece of an aircraft wing over there. This stuff here, I don't know if this is part of an aircraft or something else. And then if I swing way over there up on the beach, there's going to be a section of an aircraft wing. When I first moved out here, I thought I might have come across an actual aircraft crash site, but it turns out that this was just trash being dumped off from the old days on the island. This was not a crash, because with the water this low, you would be able to see the rest of the aircraft, and there's nothing else here. So I think this stuff was just dumped off. All right, here's one of my favorites, is finding bottles. There it is. Yeah, this might have been an old bottle. Who knows how long this has been there, but pretty neat to find something like this. I'll rinse this out and it'll go into the collection. Put this up on the shore. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and make my way across this land bridge, and while I'm doing that, I'll try to share with you guys what I'm seeing right here on the edge of the water. So right over here, we've got these really long, I think they're called pinfish. It's really hard to see through the water. I'm gonna try to get a little closer, see if I can get a better shot, but they might scamper off on me. So yeah, we'll just go right across what is normally submerged, but is now exposed, and see what we can find here. All right, well, while we're out here walking on this thing, I was going to talk to you about something I call a workation, and it's kind of a transition between, working full-time or trying to be on vacation. And I thought I had invented this word by myself, and I was all proud until I Google searched it and figured out that this has already been a word for a while. So, for some of you, you might be searching for a way to get to that retirement, but you're just not quite ready. You don't have the finances in order, but you just really hate the idea of having to grind it out another 5 years. You know, for me personally, I'm 52, and I did get into that point where I was just ready to retire, and that's why I bought this RV. I thought that was going to be the answer. I only found out that life in an RV isn't much cheaper than life in general. You're not saving a bunch of money. Well, maybe unless you own some property you could put it on, but there's so many rules and regulations with counties and how they're going to allow you to do that stuff. It makes it really difficult. Oh, that was a big fish. Kind of scared me. Where'd he go? Oh well. So yeah, for me, you know, I was 52. I'm trying to figure out a way to get to a point where I could be retired, but at the same time, I just couldn't pull it off because I didn't have the money for it. So I had to keep working. And what I discovered was that there's an opportunity where you could do contract work at overseas locations and put yourself in a really pristine place, an ideal place. You know, it may not be in the Marshall Islands for you, but there are lots of opportunities out there. And the wind is not bad. I did not bring my microphone for this particular camera. So if you just start doing some searching, there's companies that they'll relocate you, they'll pay for everything, and put you out in these locations where you'd be probably pretty surprised the amount of jobs that are available out there. And it's just another alternative to having to stick and grind through maybe where you're living is not ideal, but you want to get there, but you just need a few more years to make it to your retirement and get some debts paid off and get your finances straight. I mean, obviously for me, I could probably just do a year or two out here and I'd be in a very comfortable situation. And then I would opt for going to Philippines to retire. And I chose the Philippines because of the visas that they have for prior military. And they just have some very good options. You can see that water is slowly rolling back in. You know, this gets really shallow, but it fills up fast because it's just so flat. So you don't want to be, you could be way out there. I wouldn't recommend it because as the speed of this thing will fill up, you might find yourself having to swim your way back. And with these corals and things, you don't really want to be swimming in here and get you pretty cut up. But back to the topic of the workcation. It was just a thought I wanted to share with you guys because some of you may not be aware of it. I wasn't aware of it when I first started out on this whole thing. It never crossed my mind that I could find a job overseas where I could actually work and, you know, get paid regular pay and then have lodging and all my expenses covered. It just turned out to be a perfect deal for me. Granted, it's for me, this is a very remote location, but I'm fine with that. It's just not for everybody, but it's just something I wanted to get you guys to think about if you hadn't thought about it, to realize there's a lot of opportunities out there. I'm on a military installation that is basically like a small city. So we have the need for plumbers, we have the need for electricians, we have the need for people that know HVAC systems and can, you know, fix these things. We got a power plant right here on the island. We need people to work that power plant. And there's obviously repairs to buildings, there's repairs to the infrastructure and roads, just everything you can imagine in a small city. We're going to have a need for all of those positions here. So if you hadn't thought about working remotely like this, it's not really like a job where you're sitting on a computer. I mean, I guess it could be for some of you, but you're working remote because you're in a remote location. And you just have an opportunity to do or see some pretty amazing things. And you're kind of just making a trade-off. You know, you're not grinding away at the worst job on the planet that you're trying to get out of. In fact, we've got some pretty good positions here at this location. And I'm trying to keep my thoughts together and straight, but I haven't really made obviously a script for this. I'm just sort of talking off the cuff about it. So while we're making our way across here, we're just trying to fill in some time of things I'm seeing and give you guys some ideas of things to think about. I mean, there's jobs in Australia, there's jobs at, oh, hell, I couldn't even name off all the locations. And as I got to searching more and more, I began to find more and more jobs. And it's just pretty amazing to have an opportunity to go places and you know, maybe change up the grind for you so you can enjoy life a little more. Fella here. I don't know what this is. Moving on. All right, right here we've got that wing, and this is half buried. So just the part that's exposed, you could double this up. I've tried to dig this thing out, and it's just no time at all. The water will come back and just basically bury it all over again. So big chunk of aircraft wing. No idea what kind of aircraft this came from. And I've got a couple of tires out. Well, I should say wheels. The tires aren't here anymore. I'll go and see if I can find one of those. Here's one of the wheels. I've uncovered this a couple of times. Again, they just get reburied. That's actually a BF Goodrich. It has a part number on it. I don't remember what it was, but I don't believe it's part of a crash because there's no landing gear attached to it. It's just a completely independent wheel. There's another one that's like way down that way. If that was involved in a crash, I would certainly suspect at least the axle would be inside the center of the wheel, just foregoing the whole landing gear. But none of that stuff, I've never found it, so I just think this is just trash that was just thrown off the side, trying to build up a defense against the ocean out here. And it is a warm one today. It was February 1st, and while most of the East Coast is socked into freezing temperatures, Florida is down to, I believe, the teens at night. Yeah, it's wild out there right now. Very, very cold. So hopefully you enjoy this. All right, here's that bottle. Take that with me and off to the next spot. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I'm doing my best. I have to film, narrate, and walk and not trip on things. So if it's a little bumpy or crooked, I apologize. I'm trying to do my best here. That's another amazing cove to go explore. Going back to the workation thing, yeah, that's not going to work for everybody. And, you know, maybe your initial thought is, there ain't no way I can do that. That's how I started out. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I was going to be qualified for it. I had to get a security clearance. I did not have one. I had a lot of hurdles in front of me, and there were times when I'm like, man, this is probably a waste of time. But I'm glad that I stuck with it and kept going through all the steps and things I had to do. I didn't have a lot of money, so I couldn't be fooling around, you know, paying for physicals and things of that nature, because just I didn't have money to be blowing on something. So it was kind of tough for me to, you know, come out of pocket a few $100 for this, that, and the other. You know, buying the safety shoes, which again, those they provide those, but I just chose to bring my own. So don't write it off as one of those things you can't do, because you might surprise yourself and be like me and actually end up doing it. I never thought I would be out here, such a beautiful location, and having opportunities to go and explore these really awesome coves and things like that. Yeah, so again, I know it's not for everybody, but just don't sell yourself short on what you can accomplish. I started out the same way, thinking there's no way this is going to work out, and it did work out. All right, Let's get over here somehow, and hopefully I don't get trapped on those rocks. Let's see. All right, very different than obviously what we had before. Everything's all filled up. Still beautiful though. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed talking about the workcation, give you some ideas of things that you could maybe do that would maybe not be the perfect solution, but an alternative solution. I again hope you enjoyed the video. Appreciate you watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.